Rich Habits Daily presents male brain versus female brain. What's the difference? Ever catch yourself wondering why the opposite sex reacts so differently, like they're operating on a totally different wavelength? Turns out there's a real reason for it. It's not just personality. There are actual differences between the male and female brain. And no, it's not about who's smarter. It's about how each brain is wired, what it prioritizes, and how it responds to the world. These differences are supported by science, but more importantly, they are evident in everyday life, from how we manage stress to how we recall things. Today, we're breaking it all down with straightforward explanations of what makes the male brain and the female brain tick, and sometimes clash. Ready? Here we go. 1, brain size. Technically, the male brain is a little bigger, about 10% larger on average, but don't read too much into that. It's just built to match the size of the body. A bigger body usually means a bigger brain, kind of like a bigger truck needs a bigger engine. It doesn't mean it drives faster or better, just that it's built to match the size. What's more important is how the brain is organized and utilized. The female brain usually has more gray matter density. That's the stuff that handles processing and decision making. Meanwhile, the male brain tends to have more white matter volume, which helps different areas of the brain talk to each other. You could say women's brains are like having more workstations built for deep, focused problem solving, while men's brains are more like highways designed to move information around quickly and efficiently. Number 2, talking and language. When it comes to language, women are generally better at expressing themselves. They tend to use more words, pick up new languages more easily, and are more comfortable talking about emotions. This is because females use both sides of the brain when processing language, whereas males mostly rely on the left side. That's why a woman might describe a situation in vivid detail, giving you the full cinematic replay, while a man might sum it up in a couple of sentences. Neither is wrong, it's just different. Women are wired for emotional nuance in conversation. Men are wired for clarity and brevity. 3, memory differences. Women tend to have better episodic memory. They remember things in context, what someone wore, what they said, how something made them feel. This helps explain why they're usually better at remembering appointments and birthdays, or how you embarrassed yourself at a party 2 years ago. In contrast, men usually remember facts and processes better, like how to fix something, stats from last night's game, or the steps in a routine. It's not that one type of memory is better, they're simply strong in different ways. 4, stress reactions. Under stress, men tend to go into fight or flight mode. They either want to confront the issue head-on or distance themselves from it completely. Some might get snappy, impatient, or try to immediately solve the problem. Others might shut down, go silent, or retreat into distractions like the gym or a screen. Women are more likely to use what's called the tend and befriend response. They instinctively seek connection, talk things out, or do something that makes them feel emotionally supported, like calling a friend. Different coping tools, each shaped by hormones and brain chemistry. 5, risk-taking and rewards. The male brain responds more intensely to dopamine, the chemical that gives you a rush when something exciting happens. This makes men more likely to take risks, chase rewards, or dive into something just for the thrill. The female brain is more likely to factor in risk and long-term outcomes. Women have a tendency to weigh the pros and cons before acting. That doesn't necessarily mean they're scared, they're being strategic. In daily life, this shows up in how we handle money, make decisions, or even drive a car. 6, pain perception. Obviously, both men and women experience pain, but they process it differently. Women tend to feel it more intensely and are more likely to report it. But they're also better at handling long-term pain, like migraines or chronic conditions, with resilience. Men feel pain in a more physical, straightforward way and often downplay it. Some guys won't even mention their back hurts until they can't stand up straight. It's not always a matter of toughness, it's simply the way their brains are wired to handle and respond to pain. 7, mood and brain chemistry. Women have lower baseline levels of serotonin, the chemical that helps stabilize mood. This makes them more vulnerable to anxiety and depression, especially during hormonal shifts. That's right, it's not in their head, it's literally how their brain chemistry shifts. As mentioned earlier, men respond more intensely to dopamine, which fuels motivation and action. But too much or too little dopamine can also lead to impulsiveness or attention problems. This explains why conditions like ADHD are diagnosed more often in boys than girls. They get bored more easily and need more stimulation to stay focused. 8. Daydreaming and overthinking. There's a part of the brain called the default mode network, and it's active when we're resting, daydreaming, or doing something on autopilot, like brushing our teeth or taking a walk. Women seem to have more activity in this area, and this naturally makes them more introspective, emotionally aware, and yes, prone to overthinking. Men tend to have less activity here, so it's easier for them to mentally check out and relax. That's why one person might be replaying every awkward moment from the day while the other is watching TV without a care in the world. 9. Love and attachment. When it comes to love, male and female brains both light up, but in slightly different ways. For women, love tends to activate areas of the brain linked to emotional bonding, trust, and long-term connection. They're usually more attuned to subtle emotional cues, and their brains naturally begin to form deeper emotional memories around a person they care about. This is the reason a woman might remember a random compliment you gave her months ago, or pick up on the tiniest shift in your mood. Men also fall hard, but the male brain typically processes love through the lens of action, reward, and protection. When a guy is in love, he might not always say it out loud, but he'll show it in what he does. Fixing your car, walking you home, defending you in a conversation. These are all ways the male brain expresses care. It's not that guys aren't emotional, they just associate love more often with doing than with saying. 10. Aging brains. Here's something that's not discussed enough. The brain ages just like the body does, but it doesn't age the same way for men and women. Women's brains tend to age slower, especially when estrogen levels are steady. But after menopause, that protection fades, and that's when the risk for issues like memory loss and even Alzheimer's starts to rise. And while men tend to experience earlier declines in areas like decision-making, processing speed, and coordination, they have a lower risk of Alzheimer's overall. Of course, these are not hard and fast rules, but rather patterns that scientists have observed. With that in mind, hopefully this gives you a clearer picture of how male and female brains work, not to divide us, but to bring us closer. These differences don't have to create distance. In fact, they help us communicate better, argue less, love with more understanding, and appreciate the people in our lives for who they truly are, not just who we expect them to be. And that's quite powerful. If this gave you a few aha moments, hit that like button and drop a comment. Subscribe for more content like this. We have lots of videos that can help you make sense of the human mind. And hey, if someone in your life needs to hear this, share it. It might just connect a few dots.